So, Avi, if you don't mind, like introducing yourself for listeners and the recording.
Yeah, hey, my name's Avi. I'm head of DevRel here at Koi. Basically, my job is to help developers do whatever they want to do on Koi, from making tasks, making DApps, making their businesses, A to Z. I can get you basically from no code to a full stack development, and usually as little as a week.
Thank you. It's also worth mentioning that we have some exciting updates. Do you want me to share them or do you want to go into the Koi updates with the functionalities for the KPL token?
You can go ahead, go for it.
You're probably better at it though.
I
Yeah,
like
that's a
how
lot of pressure.
Sure,
she's
yeah.
asking you, and it's like, no, you do it.
I was being polite.
The big updates on Koi's end are definitely the KPL tokens. So for those of you who don't actually know what those are, that's Koi Programming Library tokens. I got tongue-tied. Basically what that means is it takes about 5 minutes. You can go to the Koi website and you can make your own token on Koi. It's a complete token, your own tokenomics, your own crypto. It could be an altcoin, it could be a meme coin, it could be a utility coin, which is what most coins are on Koi. Koi is, as most of you hopefully know, is a social compute network. So what that means is users can come in, they can start up a node. It also takes just 5 minutes, and then you can basically rent out your computer when you're not using it to developers who want to take advantage of your hardware so that they can do calculations and stuff like that. And yeah, you get paid in tokens, and developers get to run their business usually at a way, way cheaper cost. So it's a win for everyone. And also, because Koi is a decentralized platform, we also are able to give the community a lot more power over what's going on. And that's why we're so excited to announce KPL tokens. This is just giving the community more control over what they do. Traditionally, in the past, in other networks, most deep in networks, even if you're developing your own service, you're usually beholden to the token of the blockchain. So in some cases it's Koi, maybe it's Ethereum, maybe it's Solana. Those are some of the big examples. Well, on Koi, we wanted to give the community more power than that. And we wanted to give developers more ownership over what they did. So Koi is the token that runs the Koi network blockchain, the layer one. It's the gas token, utility token, the governance token that underlies the entire system. But on our layer two, we want to give developers a lot more ownership and community a lot more ownership. So with KPL tokens, developers can launch their own tokenomics, which they can trade on Koi's custom DEX, and that gives them, and they can also bridge it to other DEXs as well, which we're working on that functionality now, which gives them way more power and control over what they're doing. And it also incentivizes other existing projects to come and build on Koi because they don't have to worry about integrating into our tokenomics. They can integrate their own. So it's a really, really cool service. There's probably way more to talk about, but I think that's a really good introduction at the very least.
I
That
guess
was an
I'll go, Avi. So why tokens? Why are we at tokens? I feel like I'm just hearing about tokens everywhere. So maybe tell us, like, is it like a token like the way we're so used to hearing about all these tokens, aka shit coins? Like maybe talk to us about these KPL tokens and how they differ.
Yeah. I saw one tweet that said Koi was like pump.fun, except there's actually utility underneath it, which I thought, oh, that's a cool way to describe us because it actually takes just 5 minutes to make a coin. Koi is going to basically make it so that you can also make a public facing web page. We're going to be making a web page editor pretty soon so that you'll be able to basically make a token and put it out just like that, pump.fun. Except what's different about Koi is that we actually have utility in the system. We're an actual social compute network. There's 90,000 plus nodes on the network, all supplying the community with power. And if you make your own token, now instead of just having this random token that you made that has no value, you can actually use it to pay for compute on the network. And that means your business can actually do something, or your app can actually do something, or even if you're just doing something for fun, it can actually do something. So there's a lot more power underneath all of Koi tokens than any other token before. They're not just a piece of code. They're actually tied to a real world resource, and that's what makes us a lot different from all the other depends.
That was an amazing explanation. I think you definitely were the one to take that question. Another thing we wanted to touch on was last week Sonos users encountered issues with their software updates and app functionality. So, because you're such an expert on this stuff, we wanted to get your opinion on that. In your opinion, if you want to give some backstory for the listeners on Sonos and what your opinion on their error there was, what do you think their error was, and what do you think about that situation?
Yeah, Sonos had basically a bunch of issues where I think that what happened was their hardware came with a new software update, and then all of a sudden people couldn't adjust the volume on their actual speakers and stuff like that, which that's crazy. And I remember we were just talking about it a lot in the office, so it's funny that you bring it up. I think that really what it is, it's a probably a piloting issue on behalf of the leadership of the business. That's kind of always been my take on that. I think that there's some lessons to learn when it comes to what we do here at Koi, but ultimately there's a concept in project management called pre-flight builds, and that's basically where you'll dole out your app to a small subsection of the community and you'll test it over and over again and you'll release it to more and more users as you're confident it's bug free, it's working on devices as intended. And usually we use data science to take like a good sample of devices so that we don't have redundancy and stuff like that in the system. So big companies, I'm really surprised Sonos didn't do that. Big companies really should. I think it's kind of indicative of Sonos's leadership being just out of touch. They're not actually really in tune with their community. They're clearly using outdated techniques. I think that's hurting their hardware line. And I think they could even take advantage of technologies like Web3 tech to start, if they have a greater, if they put a greater push on a decentralized approach, for example, maybe they would have been able to dole out the service in a more appropriate way. I'm not sure, but ultimately, I think it's a leadership
Do you guys do pre-flights at Koi?
at Koi, we don't tend to do pre-flights, and the main reason is because essentially we are a startup. We're really agile. I think one of the big benefits of pre-flight builds is that because when you're a large company, you can't necessarily fix things quickly. There's maybe a big old pipeline to report a bug, and then what engineer does that bug go to? And then, oh, you have to get a project manager to approve that in the pipeline. Crazy. Here at Koi, we're pretty fast. We're pretty agile. Basically, everybody here is an expert at what they do. And so it's pretty easy to say, hey, there, this is what's broken. Someone says, oh, I'm going to fix that, and within 24 hours, for the most part, it's usually fixed.
I feel like what you're saying though is like every Web3 quote unquote project slash business's dream right now. Like I feel like that's like the story that everyone wants to hear, right? Like we know everything, we're in tune with our community. Yeah, like that was really nice, Avi. That's
Good,
like
I'm glad.
everyone's dream.
I think Koi is the dream.
What I like is what we do here in Web3 is open source technology. That's like the point. So if you don't have open source technology, you have more bugs. And especially with things like AI and all this very complicated technology, I just think like it's important to have the whole community on one project working out one bugs. Like you can never have enough people finding bugs. So I think that's another really important part of what you guys are doing, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a huge boon. A big benefit of just a decentralized community in general is that, well, especially Web3, I think there's a huge desire for open source content and a push for everybody should be, you should have access to your privacy, but also we should all be transparent about what we're doing. And I think that's a big part of it too. So we are at Koi, we're open sourcing a lot of our code. We're going to keep open sourcing more of it. And we have bug bounty programs that are going on, and that helps too, actually. Just the community being involved in everything that we do. And that's, we're actually really proud that we get to say that our community is willing to sometimes dive in. For the most part, I'd say 90% of people aren't looking for a bug bounty. They're just really excited about Koi. They found something wrong with it and they want to say, hey guys, we need this fixed. And then, yeah, of course, it's great to have the experts on hand because someone in the community can say, hey, this thing's broken, and then give me 2 hours and I can say, yep, we're on it. We're going to get it fixed.
Yeah, and it just proves how out of touch the leadership is in these Web 2 companies, I think. I much prefer Web 3 leadership. Have they always, as like companies like this, always been like this? Like the Sonos people, have they always had cut closed source tech, or was there ever a point like where it was open and then they closed it?
For the most part, it's been proprietary, so closed tech. I think that there was, it comes from the ideas in the 50s and 60s, basically, where everybody, it was a new trend in law to like actually patent things and start covering your ass on everything. Patents always existed, but this corporate idea of thousands of patents and they have to encompass every legal aspect of your product and all that stuff, that came out of then. And so we see big tech companies that are coming on the rise also around that time. And They start getting into their own probably in the early 90s. And so they're really influenced by this idea that we need to protect everything. We need to be very closed source. We need to really take advantage of trade secret laws. There was the famous case in the early 2000s where, in California, basically, the tech people or big tech was saying, hey, if you leave our startup, you can't take any of the secrets with you or we'll sue you. And so California came out with this big law that was like in Silicon Valley, where it was like, hey, you can't do that anymore. And so that was the first push, I would say, into like open sourcing content, where it was like if you were an engineer and you worked for a big secret startup, now you could finally go to another startup and actually talk about what you did and implement those ideas. And it evolved from there. I think Web3 is different though because it's more of a grassroots idea. We're definitely standing on the shoulders of big tech and all those people in the early 2000s. Like, I'll definitely admit that, but we're definitely more of a community and we came out of the internet. We didn't come out of, I think, that early capitalism era.
I love that. And I feel like it's like pretty clear that these companies don't care about their consumers, their products. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but at this point, like I would think people came over at this point just because like you're tired of like not being able to control your technology. So I don't know. Do you think that I know this like these kinds of things don't increase the need for decentralization. Unfortunately, people don't look at these issues and think like, what, wow, like what can I do to avoid this in the future? But do you think that it's going to take something bigger?
I think that, yeah, I think for people in general to adopt a decentralized approach, it's probably going to take something bigger than a Sonos or two screwing up. But I do think that it presents an early opportunity. It doesn't mean we shouldn't build decentralized things. It means that I think just us being here is proof that the ball's rolling. And every day, more people are joining Koi's server. I'm sure more people are joining all the blockchain servers. It's a growing demand. And I think we're just a little bit ahead of the curve, which is a good thing. It's where we want it, to be honest. I think that the thing that will really push people towards a decentralized approach is when one company steps up, they do it really well. And they do it so well that mainstream people are really getting involved in it and they start building really easy tech to work with, and everybody can access it. And that's exactly what we're trying to do at Koi.
Which brings me to my question, like how can we solve this? What technology specifically or models can we use to solve this? And like how does Koi offer that?
Yeah, for sure. Koi is a customizable solution. It's a multifaceted approach. It's more about implementation as opposed to what solutions Koi can offer. I think Koi can offer any solution. Whatever you can think of that you can build, Koi can function as a backend. Any traditional Web 2 app, any future thinking Web 3 app, Koi handles them both. And so I think the key to avoiding these kinds of mistakes is a well thought out development strategy. And then coupled with having passionate people who actually care about the product.
What about the specific technology?
Specific technologies that could be implemented with Koi, you mean?
Yeah, like just in general, like of course the blockchain, but like for yeah, for this specific scenario.
I think technology, it's funny, but project management technologies is maybe something for that this specific scenario really requires. It's not just about having passionate people. I think it's also actually about really thinking out exactly what we're trying to do and exactly what we're trying to build. I think a lot of traditional Web3 companies were maybe just building to build. I think Koi is, we have a plan. We have a strategy and we're going to execute really well. We're going to build every software that we can think of. We have one partner, they want to build Google Maps clone on Koi, and we're like, power to them. Another person, they want to build a Shopify clone. Yeah, do it. Another person wants to build a Spotify, and it sounds amazing, all of these things. So we're going to make sure that Koi is building solutions that enables any kind of technology to basically solve, hopefully, any problem.
It's interesting that you say that, Avi. I started laughing because I was like recently, I got this company reaching out to me and saying, we're going to be the next Shopify of blockchain. What do you tell those people, Avi? Do you tell them, hey, just come to Koi and we'll build it for you? Like, what should I be doing in this? Everyone wants to be the next Shopify, the next, we're going to get creators to come on our platforms and forget about these other 10,000 platforms that we're on. What do you say to people like that? Is it that should they hear about Koi and then come and join you guys and build there?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is that it's so easy to build on Koi. So whenever somebody says something like that, I'm like, build it on Koi because what do you have to lose? Just takes a few minutes. If you already have your tech ready, which is what a lot of these people already have, integrating into Koi can actually be as short as 2 hours. So I always love to bring those people on because Koi, it'll supplement your business. It'll power it up. Everybody is trying to be the next this, the next that. And I guess that's a big part of what draws me to Koi is because we want to empower everybody to take that shot. Part of what I want at Koi is the one click initiative, and I talk about this a lot. Basically, it means you should be able to do everything A to Z on Koi with one click. That means you don't even need to know how to code, and you can probably make a business. Like at a fully functioning business with a big app and a whole back end, a crazy server basically running on the Coin network, and it doesn't matter how much or how little skill you have. I want to break that open, and so everybody's going to get a shot. And I think that on my end, if everybody takes a shot, then the winner is somewhere in everybody. And for you guys, I want to empower you guys to be able to take that shot, to be able to do things you never thought you'd be able to do before. That's what Koi is.
I feel like that's the thing I love most about Koi. Like it's easy to become part of your community, and there's like a lot of different ways. Like, what would you say? I know there's hackathons, but like just for everyone listening, like what are some of the best ways to like allow Koi to solve these problems and get involved?
Yeah, I mean, running the node is definitely the first step. If you haven't, it's about 5 minutes. You go to koi.network, you can download the node, you can start running it up, and you can start powering projects, and you can start getting rewarded in tokens right now. We have a bunch of tokens that are going live this week, thanks to our KPL program. So get in early, and you might be able to get some really cool prizes. Um, or token rewards, sorry. We do have the hackathons. So we just ended one hackathon. Our Trueflation and Koi hackathon just ended. We got a bunch of cool submissions. We're going to be going through them over the weekend, but there was a lot of cool stuff there. The hackathon was about political and election data. We were partnered with Trueflation for that one. It was super exciting. We had a lot of different ideas coming through the pipeline. We ended up finding a bunch of bugs, and some people actually made like a full stack app and they pushed it out. So we're really excited to be looking at these submissions. So hackathons are still a really exciting way to join in. And I will say that we have another hackathon that's going to be coming up on the 26th. There'll be some merch that's coming out too. So that's pretty exciting. Joining the Discord. Join the Discord or the Telegram. Great ways to get involved in the community. We're just always active there. We have Bob Numes, which is our community manager, Pedro. He is just amazing. He's there all the time. He's answering so many questions, literally hundreds a day. It's insane. I don't think he sleeps. It's great. It's a great spot to be in. There's always chatter. There's always just a conversation going on. You can join us on Twitter, or X, sorry. We're always around on X. We're going to be posting more and more. We're going to be trying to do more community engagement stuff. We might be doing some fun little quests with Galaxy or airdrops coming soon. So subscribe, or sorry, follow and stay tuned. Yeah, I think those are definitely the best ways to get involved in Koi right now. There's also, you can just start developing. If you're a developer, reach out. You can reach out to me or anybody in the Koi Discord or Telegram, and we'll get you started too.
So I definitely want to dive into some more specifics, but you caught my attention with the election data. Can you go into that a bit more?
Yeah, I went over that a bit quick. It was our last hackathon had developers basically making Koi tasks and launching their KPL tokens. They were looking specifically at what we call political data. So that was stuff like election data, like sentiment analysis, looking at inflation, looking at crime. One particular project looked at some their local politicians in their municipality, and they were tracking them across Twitter seeing what they were doing. I thought that was really interesting. So there, yeah, that was the kind of data that people were looking at. And then we just tasked them to either do something interesting with it. Some people made some visualizations. Some people made an app that let you interact with some politics stuff, like political, there's like a feed of political stuff that's going on in your region. And so you could click the links basically to interact with stuff. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so those are some examples.
Do you think this kind of stuff has a big play in election? Do you think that this kind of data, because we're talking a lot lately in the last couple of years about analytics and data. So I'm curious if like you think that this year has specifically had that happening with AI and all that stuff. Like what did the data show?
Oh yeah, data is gold. So anytime that anybody can be building anything that involves data, it's a good skill, and usually the data you collect, even if it's haphazard, you can probably make an API out of that and build a business around it. So
Ooh, wait,
yeah.
what I caught my attention with the business. How can we do that? How can we do that? I'm not saying I'm going to start grifting election data. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily promoting it doing anything in particular, but if you wanted to, you can use Koi's series of templates, or you can build your own with Puppeteer to basically crawl the internet, grab whatever data you think is interesting, and then you can punch it right into an API. And it doesn't actually have to be the internet, by the way. It could be maybe your favorite video game, it could be your favorite sports show, it could be whatever. You can capture data on it, and basically people pay for data. So let's say you get a bunch of this data and you cram it into an Excel spreadsheet for whatever reason. I'd recommend a SQL server, but you can put it wherever you want. Basically, you can set up a website. There's a bunch of one-click options. I recommend WAP. They're a great Web3 ecosystem. And you can actually just, if you have that Excel file, you can drag and drop. If you know how to build an API, it's really easy with Koi. We have some tutorials that I could point out later. Then all you have to do is set that up and then attach it to a credit card payment system, and boom, you have an API that you can start making money off of, assuming that people want to pay for your data. But most of the time, people do. It's really easy to build on Koi.
That's
Avi, I remind people that like Facebook, like isn't that how Mark Zuckerberg became the millionaire billionaire that he is? It was the data that he ended up collecting. It wasn't so much like the actual platform itself. You when you watch even the movie there, what's that movie called? But anyway, and I always remind people, it's like it's the data. That's what people want. Everyone wants the data behind the app that you're creating. So yeah, good call there, Avi. Look, I not that I want to switch it up, but like I'm sorry, I went on the Koi account and everyone's in Singapore and I'm FOMOing Avi. Why are you not in Singapore? I have to call it out because
Someone has to hold down the ship here in
exactly.
Halifax.
You're in Halifax?
I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia, yeah.
Shut up. I'm in Montreal. What?
Oh,
What?
what? That's crazy.
That is incredible.
Let's
That's
go.
insane. Yes. Hi, fellow Canadian.
Hey.
My God. Okay. I did not know that. That's so fun. That's so fun to know that.
I love
Okay.
Canadians. I love you guys are the best. Just want to throw that out. But I do have a question, Avi. So did anybody like build anything really cool with the Koi tasks that monitor this data?
Yeah, some people built some really cool tasks that were just looking at this kind of data. We have like Blurtopian and Riev, I think it's called. But these tasks will actually be coming out live on Koi very soon. So I'm not going to spoil the fun too much. But if you actually win one of our hackathons, or even you submit till the end, you don't even have to win. You still get the chance to publish your app live on Koi. So it's going to be really exciting. Hopefully, really soon, we're going to be launching 4 to 6 new projects on Koi. I'm actually shaking because I'm so excited about dropping them, but I can't say anything, and I might if I keep talking.
Okay.
Ooh,
I
keep
have a
talking.
question. No, I have a question. Maybe he'll speak. But my question for you, and really, it's like because I've been chatting with Koi for the longest time now. We host a ton of spaces with you guys. I'm a creator. Like, what would you say to me, Avi? Like, what's the incentive for me? Because I'm thinking there are things that I do that maybe, you know what, I should be setting up shop using Koi, collecting data. Like, what would you say? Like, what would be an incentive for someone like me who's creating a ton of content, getting people like on their email lists and whatnot? Like, what is there an incentive for me to join Koi apart from like running a node? What else could I do?
Yeah, for sure. If you have a lot of data, that's another great use case for Koi. You might want to maybe validate that data. Koi is a community auditing process. So one of the big benefits of Koi is that just because one node does the work doesn't mean that the network's going to trust it. So we'll have other nodes do auditing over that. So maybe you have a bunch of survey data and you want to verify that it's legit. And you want to prove that a bunch of people said this was legit. So you pass it to 100 different nodes on the coin network. They all check mark. They're like, yep, this is a real link. This came from a real address. This IP isn't fake. It's not repeating 1,000 times in a database. And then it comes back to you and you get all these check marks. And then you can tell all your clients, hey, look, all my surveys are legit, for example. All my emails are legit. Or maybe you want to do a bunch of data processing. I know tons of people who have big email lists and they have a bunch of data on their clients and they want to have an AI that writes a bunch of emails. Koi is the perfect place to host that AI. You basically set the AI up on Koi, you'd give it all your emails, you'd ask it, hey, write all these emails that you want it to do, and then you could actually just let it run on Koi's backend.
I love
Just a
that.
few
I
ideas, yeah.
love taking like real life, like myself, and then seeing how I can add, because a lot of the times, and this is why I'm saying this, because a lot of the times, like people in the audience could be listening. By the way, for those of you who are listening, if you have questions, if you're already running a node using Koi, if you're already using Koi, why don't you come up and share some feedback or come and ask Avi your questions yourself? Like this would be so cool to get like the community involved. But yeah, like I like asking these types of questions because a lot of the times we'll always hear about the same use cases or the same types of businesses. So I wanted to see, like, is there an incentive for me to be a part of this? Because a lot of the times too, like even for myself, like the reason why I got into the blockchain was because I wanted stuff to be verifiable. I wanted people to tell me like, yeah, this has been proven, this is real accurate information. But I'm like sitting on the sidelines with my MailChimp and it's like, this is not what I want. Abby, it's like, now let's put it to use. Let's take the data and actually see. So yeah, I'm going to check this out. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, and a huge thing of what Koi is trying to do is we're just going to start building tons of templates so that anybody can come into Koi and then just with a few clicks, they can grab what they want, they can edit what they want here and there, and then they can basically be launching their own stuff. Just like how you'd go to any website builder and you'd be able to build your website with a few clicks. That's what Koi wants, except for apps and websites and also AI and like everything else.
Templates are huge, Avi. That's really smart. Templates are a huge business. That's really smart.
I feel like there's so many ways to get involved in the koi ecosystem, and that's always been the case too. I started staking koi honestly like 2 3 years ago now. So like that, I remember that initiative when you were like onboarding people to staking. So what is tell me, like I want to get, before we get too deep into anything else, I want to get into the KPL tokens. Can you give us like a soft intro into that and how we want to onboard people with KPLs tokens now?
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, the KPL tokens are Koi programming library tokens. It's basically developers in the Koi ecosystem making their own tokens that they can launch on Koi, or they might already have a token and they're just bridging it over to Koi. So we have one example is our new Rats token, we have the O Fire token, we have the O Bird token. So they're new tokens you might find on Koi for running some of our your favorite tasks. If you were running the task already, it'll automatically convert over to these new tokens and you can start collecting those. So that's pretty exciting. And then we also have some bridge tokens like KPen, which is Pentagon Games. They have their own token. We have Truth, or K-Truth, sorry, Truthflation. They have their own Truth token. So they're bridging over as well. So you can now start running those tasks and start collecting tokens that are going to be bridgeable and then converted one to one over to converted one to one on Koi's mainnet so that you can exchange those on our decks or their decks to basically get your tokens out and get real reward, which is pretty cool. We're really excited to launch our new Obird and O Fire tokens. So those are part of our Koi Ocean program. We have the Ocean Fire token, which is still our mysterious community token. We have big plans for it, but we're keeping the community a bit in the dark. We're leaving breadcrumbs here and there, so see if you can find some of the Easter eggs. I think it's a fun little hunt.
Wait, where can we look for these breadcrumbs? I love breadcrumbs.
You can look everywhere and see if you find them.
You know, I literally just was like turning my head right now, like listening in my living room. Like I'm looking, like what, I'm ridiculous. Just like
Yeah, maybe we
looking.
hit something on your desk.
Ridiculous.
Wait, so how do you think these KPL tokens are going to onboard? Because like here's what I think. Like we're not going to onboard like it's going to be tough to onboard like newbies to use KPL tokens. But what I do think is like if you're a developer and you haven't heard of Koi yet, KPL tokens might be where you hear of Koi.
Yeah, I think definitely KPL tokens are gonna entice Koi users, like Koi developers. I think on the user side, what's going to really entice you guys and onboard you guys is that Koi is going to be able to do a bunch more airdrops in all these different tokens. So if you're token farming across a bunch of different platforms, Koi is going to be able to support you in doing that, which we think is really fun. We're really excited to be able to like partner with other chains and stuff like that and deliver and distribute is the word I'm looking for, their tokens. And then the other side of it is that we're going to be able to reward you in a more diverse portfolio. The Koi wallet isn't just going to be about holding Koi anymore. It still can, but it's going to be about having a bunch of different tokens. And you get to, well, actually have a Koi Ocean program coming out soon for users, where you guys will get to stake any of your tokens basically into projects so that you can actually crowdfund and vote on them and give them support. And then you can hopefully they grow and you get tokens back in their tokens, and then hopefully they're exchanging on dexes. So it's really a community driven effort to start really building the new internet from the ground up with that community focus in mind. That's the big draw, I think, for users. At the end of the day, it's so that you have power, agency, choice, vote, ownership in what happens next.
So, what is it? First of all, I love how enthusiastic you are about that. If you're a developer, you want to be building where other people are enthusiastic because community, like, I don't want to sound lame, but community and like the community you come and build on and into is almost as important as the tech. Like, we've seen this a lot, but good tech doesn't get anywhere unless you've got like the passion and community behind it. So, I love that for the Koi team in general. Let's have some real use cases of the real things like a dev listening right now could do. What kind of projects are we looking to reach out to if we had to?
Yeah, basically, like I said, any project, KPL tokens are super flexible. If you want to make a token, you can basically do it. Some great examples are in the webinar series. I host a webinar every Thursday. We made our K-Webin token, and moving forward in the webinars, like next Thursday, we're going to be just trying to build tasks live with them so that we're going to start really exploring and diving into all the actual specific use cases. Right now, live, we have our release the rats task, which is a big task. It has its own rat token, has a lot of fans. It's basically a bunch of people having a bunch of fun on Twitter. They're posting on basically to troll some particular politicians that the community doesn't like too much. It's kind of funny. I can understand how some people don't find it funny, but that's one of our big use cases. We have Connexion Leave, which is going to be our VPN token coming out soon. Super excited for that. Basically, you're going to be able to get a token called VPN token, and it's going to be able to power a VPN on Koi. So by running the VPN task, you'll get to basically pay for your VPN for free, which is really, really cool. We're talking with a company right now. They have a blockchain based Uber Eats style food delivery service. And so they're going to have a task on Koi. If you're running their task, you'll get their token, which will be able to pay for your Uber Eats basically, which is really, really cool, I think. So there's a bunch of different use cases, a bunch of different ways to reward people. There's the Trueflation token, and that is actually just exchangeable, I think, live right now. If you just go into a DEX and you look for Truf, TRUF, it's a Trueflation token, it just has a value. You can actually just go into a DEX and exchange that. So there's a lot of different ways you can utilize and incentivize with KPL tokens.
If you had the perfect project and perfect dev, like what would be the perfect project though? A lot of like companies lean into one thing more than others. What would that be at Koi?
I think the perfect projects on Koi are the ones that are like another existing business and you're just bringing it over to Koi so that you can do it cheaper. I think one of the big parts of Koi is that we're community owned. So we're owned by you guys. All of our node operators have stake in the business because they're the node operators. They what run our infrastructure. And that means the community dictates the price and not one of five monopolies. And that really gives us a lot more control. So the prices on Koi are overall a lot more reasonable. And that means it gives a lower entry point to come in. So I think that's really like one of the driving forces behind what makes Koi so attractive.
Interesting. That's like what I think when I think of that. Maybe we could go to Web 2 businesses and say, hey, this is actually something that could make what you're already doing cheaper. Because
Yeah.
that's crazy, because that's actually how we do adoption. That's the way, is like, we're not offering them decentralization, we're offering them a discount.
Exactly. This is why when businesses come to us, they're saying we're going to build the next Shopify, we're going to build the next Spotify. It's because it's not that they think that necessarily they can do what these businesses did better. They have great models, but they can definitely do it cheaper. And I think that's huge. It's just cheaper on Koi. It's community owned. We charge developers less. And that way, when we're using the services that these developers make, we pay less. Or if you're running a node, then you might even get it for free. That's a really cool idea. For me, like if instead of paying for Spotify, I just had to run the Koi node and then I just got like my music account paid, like subscription paid for essentially that way, that's really cool to me.
That's like, probably, with all due respect to everything we've learned so far, that's probably the thing that like I'm most invested in. And I actually like, I have a decent amount of Koi, and I've had it for a while. So that's actually the thing that's made me like most bullish. I hate to like say that word, and I rarely use that word, but I don't know, like there's something about adoption that like I think the people who are doing the best adoption marketing, they're going to corner the market, because and then once you just are like, okay, now this is something that's adding to your stack, not making it harder, and it makes sense for your business, you can really go into any industry. Like, I can't even think of an industry. Like, you can't go, like, if you could get into medical, for example, do you see Koi eventually being in hospitals or something like that, in theory?
Oh, 1,000%, 100%. I can easily see us anywhere where it makes sense to have cheaper compute is where we're going to be. And I think that's actually literally everywhere. I mean, if you're a business and maybe you're an accounting firm, maybe you're a fast food restaurant, maybe you're a hospital, maybe you're a government, maybe you're a construction company, it doesn't matter. If I can take your software licensing fee, which is maybe $1,000 a month per user, and I can drop that down to 100, you're going to be on Koi.
Can you just give us an overview of what tokens we need for normies to be onboarded and how that works?
Yeah, for sure. What you need to do is go to koi.network in your browser, and then you can download the desktop node. You can go to our faucet, which you can find a link in the desktop node. You can find a link on our website, and we'll actually give you some free koi, and that'll basically get you started. You can stake on a task, and what staking does is it basically you put some collateral down so you can say, hey there, I'm a good, faithful actor on the market. If I do something bad, you can take away my stake and stop me from running the task. So you'll put that in, and of course, we're giving you the first ride for free. And then you can start generating some koi. You can start generating some other tokens, and hopefully you'll be going real soon. And then, of course, we're launching DEX very soon, and on that DEX, you'll be able to buy tokens as well. So, yeah.
This is actually the most I've like heard from new news in a while. Do you have any like other things that like maybe we didn't touch on? Like, KPLs are very interesting, but is there anything else like new coming up? Because I'm actually pretty invested in, like, because you guys are doing so much and you've started so many new things. Like, what am I missing?
Yeah. Some of the new things are right now we've been very developer focused. So there's been not so much on the retail side, but a lot on the developer side. We're launching our new developer IDE. It's basically a development environment. It's like imagine an app that you launch that helps make coding on Koi easier. Eventually, it's going to be that Koi IDE that lets you basically one-click your way through Koi task development. So it's a really, really big project that we're working on. We're super excited to be releasing it to beta users and stuff like that. So if you're in the Discord and you are a developer and you maybe want to look into that, definitely reach out, get excited. Aside from the web IDE, we have our Koi Ocean program going on right now, which is our accelerator. So we're excited to be partnering with some new investors and stuff. So if you're looking to launch your business on Koi, the Koi Ocean program is a really, really exciting place to be. We're going to be launching a new line of merch really soon. People have been asking about merch for so long. So we're going to be giving people merch. We have our in-house designer, Ari. She made some incredible designs, like designs that are so good that I would probably buy them regardless of like their affiliation to a company. Like if you strip the Koi logo, I would still buy it. So I'm
That's
really excited.
First of all, I will definitely rock some Koi merch. Like, send me the link. I think we should, like, as I hate to get in on the merch right now, but I think we as Web3 people should just like all exchange merch and like wear them on the calls all day, that we do, like the because we work from home, right? We should just make like have fun with it and just become like paid ads, like but like not paid, like just wear your favorite companies, the companies you support. Like I guess you can say a paid ad because usually you hold some of their coin, right? But
No, that's actually like totally the idea. Part of why we wanted to make the clothes so street wearable is so that you could wear it out. And then someone might ask, wait, what is koi? And you're like, oh, like I'm gonna
could
tell
you
you all about it.
imagine? Could you imagine? Like, I'm big on merch. I just love the science of merch. It is a science. Could you imagine if like Koi became like a brand you saw people wearing on the street, and
I w
that's
That'd be so cool. Like that'd be a dream. What? That like if I had some apparel lines, oh, that'd be so cool. I'd be on top of that.
that's good marketing. Not gonna lie. So I'm really excited for this merch drop. Clearly,
But yeah, hopefully this weekend we will drop a teaser of what one of our sweaters looks like. I'm really excited for that.
I thought you did, Avi. I saw the little fish or something next to a T. I don't know if that's
That was a t-shirt, and
okay.
that's our old merch, but we're gonna be bringing that back again by popular demand. But we have a whole
mm.
new line, and it's gonna be really, really good.
It's actually really fun you said that, Avi, because as soon as you said like that's your old merch, I was like, no, no, that's your vintage merch. It's different. You can't
It's
get you just upprice it.
absolutely.
Anyway, I'm sorry to get so excited about merch, but love merch. It's good marketing. And like,
Merch is awesome.
because I'm a nerd, I just like it. So, what else besides merch? I got a little sidetracked there.
I think we went over the big ones for sure. Every week we're trying to look and launch new initiatives. Really excited to have onboarded. We're working with our new head of growth. His name is Kevin, and he's basically going to be doing a bunch of work to get us way more active, way more like engaging the community way more. We've given a lot of love to developers because at Koi, I mean, we love developers, but now it's time to give some love back to the community, and we're really excited to start engaging more. So over the next few weeks, I can imagine there'll be a lot more exciting announcements.
I've done like DevRel type stuff, not like more on the grand side, but and because of that, like I understand like when you give to developers, you actually give to the community. It's a slower circle of like getting your rewards back. But that's who would build the tech. Of course you need community, but it's a good sign when you see a company investing in their developers. And this is something that put Koi on my radar initially, which I think it was like 2020 maybe. How old's Koi?
Yeah, we're about 4 years.
Koi was on my radar so early because you guys invested in your developers. And I know that's a green flag for long term growth in the coin. So, huge win there. Like that. Wanted to give you guys those flowers.
Yeah, much love. And again, we're going to have a lot more exciting developer perks coming out soon. There's going to be more funding opportunities. We know that, while you're developing your task on Koi, you probably still have to pay the rent, and we're really cognizant of that. I think that's what makes Koi a little bit different. We actually care about the dev as a person, and we want to be the leaders in the space. So that means a lot that you said that. Thanks.
Yeah, I very much mean that. Just because, like, how I got into Web3 was actually ecosystem grants from like Web2 people do care about that, right? So, you
Very
know,
true.
yeah, so that's why I'm like, when I saw, like, you guys are one of the only communities who came in small and like spearheaded that. And I'll definitely never forget it. That's why you guys are a big, like, green flag in my book, even though now you've got so many other green flags. But yeah, just huge props to the community. Definitely mean that one.
Yeah, I remember someone in our Discord said like Koi is like one of the most trustworthy Web3 projects, and I like that a lot. We work really hard to kind of be that in that really fortunate position.
So, last question, as somebody who does like grants, what kind of grants are we in theory? What kind of developers, right? I'm thinking, what's the next grant initiative? Who are we looking for to add to the ecosystem? Who's the perfect project to start building on Koi right now?
Yeah, we have two pretty exciting initiatives. Right now, with the Koi Ocean program, we're gearing up for a crowdfunding campaign thing, maybe Kickstarter if you've ever heard of that, which is pretty exciting for us. So that means anybody who just wants to put their project out there can apply for funding from the community directly. So that's a pretty cool one, and I think anybody should apply for that. On the other side, yeah, we do have our grant program, and we now have a new funding avenue where you can get funding directly from investors. So that's like actual US dollars. I can't give an exact amount on how much you can get right now, but I would say if you're a developer with a serious idea, you want to build something, you've built your first prototype at the very least, hopefully it's a Koi app, then you're in the right spot. You're in the perfect position. And if you really believe in your product, you're really passionate about what you're doing, I think that's all I'm looking for.
Wow, that's actually pretty groundbreaking because usually grants have these horribly rigid terms. And it's like, oh, no, you were good last year, but now you're not building in Africa.
Once you're in, we definitely want to see you working hard. And I think that's what we're all doing. So I'm not too worried about that. But at the same time, we're really flexible because, yeah, as long as you're just building on Koi, doesn't matter what it is, I think you deserve a shot.
Yeah, and that's like, it's so limiting. You lose really good developers. They get a sour taste in their mouth when they have like amazing ideas. You lose talent. So I love that. Really good to hear that as well. Any last comments, Avi?
No, it's been really great being here. I appreciate the time. I'm always really happy to talk about KPL tokens. I know that I'm talking about them all the time, so I'm sorry if I'm getting annoying, but
No,
I
actually,
love it.
You're good.